Hi friends, look how beautiful this liquid glass and shimmer brush is on the Cape Cod layout number 1. In this video, we are going to do layout 1 and some of our prep work for the other layouts. And look at that hidden pocket. This is going to be so fun. Let's get started. Now we are going to do some spraying with our gloss spray. I find that when I use this fan brush, rather than spraying, I get a little bit more control than using the spray nozzle. So I put a little bit onto my all-purpose mat and I'm going to splatter it on my background paper. And this blue piece we are doing on all 4 sides of the paper. Now I did get a little bit larger splatters. I could have made sure my brush wasn't so wet when I started for a little bit more of a finer, more controlled look. But this is a super fun technique. And you can use that spray nozzle as well, but I just find I have better control at getting a more sporadic look by doing it this way. And here I'm just adding a little bit more to try to balance out my larger pieces. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. You see I got one large one there, but that's okay. And we're going to do this one as well. We're going to do both sides of this one and then just the bottom of this one. There are a few die cuts that we're going to do as well, which you see here I have laid out in the box. And again, I've got some of that on my all-purpose mat, the gloss spray, and using the brush to splatter. Now we're ready to start assembling. If you've been following me in the Creative Design Studio for a while, you know that I have a hard time lining things straight. But our Versamat has this large X on it, which makes it perfect for layering. When you put all 4 of your corners on that X, you know that that piece is completely centered, right? So this large X, and you put your piece down in the center, and then you're going to lay your other piece right on top of it. This is a great way to layer pieces and know that they are all centered regardless of the size of paper. So here you see I've turned it over and it is completely centered. The next little tip that I have for you is you're going to see that I'm going to turn this piece over and I'm going to put some adhesive on the back and adhere it down to my Versamat. That way I know it is always straight, so therefore all my pieces should be straight as I'm placing them down as well. And you know the key word is straight because I have such a hard time lining things up these days. So anytime I can have a little tip or trick that's going to help me out, I am all for it. This layout is going to be very similar to the guide as far as the basic layout. So if you grab your guide, you can follow along here. You'll want to keep in mind that the measurements will be slightly adjusted because we're going to add in the glitter paper, and we'll want to make sure we follow along to add in that secret pocket for some additional photos, right? But the basic layout is going to be very similar to this design here. I was creating these layouts while I was at my retreat in Marshall, Michigan earlier in July, and I was having such a tough time. Like nothing really seemed to go right for me that day. And you'll notice here I started putting down the glitter paper according to the guide, and I realized that I needed to make the adjustment because we added the glitter paper, right? So it wasn't going to line up. So you just need to move it over slightly from what the guide has to accommodate that glitter paper. But that glitter paper is so pretty and it makes such the difference in this layout. It sparkles and shines just like the beautiful water, right? And if you're not familiar with our glitter paper, a fun tip is that a lot of glitter paper flakes or sheds, and ours does not. You can cut it on the Cricut, you can cut it on your cutter, you can rub your hands over it, and it does not flake off, and that is a true benefit. of our glitter paper if you've worked with others. So here I'm just making those adjustments to get everything lined up correctly. And this periwinkle color is just so beautiful. All right, so here we go, making sure I get it straight. Oh my goodness, my friends, I have so many challenges, but I think we are on a roll now. Now I'm adding the Lagoon photo mats on top of our periwinkle glitter paper. But don't forget, we're going to add the wave paper under here that I forgot. My goodness. Next, we're going to start embellishing this side, and this is going to be so much fun with the shimmer brush and the liquid glass. Notice I only took the backing off of the middle one on the back of that, the middle foam tape, so that I could adjust it a little bit, and I'm only putting foam tape on the bottom of the sun and sea. Okay, because it's going to get some dimension from that stamp looking one above it. So I only needed to add a little bit. And this little anchor was so much fun, but I played a little bit to get it to fit in there the way that I wanted it to. So fun. Next, you're going to grab your acrylic shape and paperboard pieces that came in your kit, as well as your shimmer brush and liquid glass. I'm using the clear shimmer brush, and you'll notice when I open it here that I thought that maybe I had grabbed the wrong color, but my tip just had some little discoloration on it from using it in an ink pad, but it was clear, and this looks so pretty. It's hard to see on the camera as I'm doing it, but it looks so pretty on the water here. I did put a fair amount of the shimmer brush on there, but you don't want to saturate your paper either. I also did the little ampersand there with the shimmer brush as well before I put the liquid glass on it. It really doesn't show much through the liquid glass, but you do see it there a little bit if you wanted to do it on the ampersand. I was adjusting my light there so that you could see that shimmer brush on the water. Look at how beautiful that is. When I picked up the layout to show you the shimmer brush, I realized that I did not adhere down these little ferns. Is that what they are? I'm not quite sure what they're called. I didn't adhere them down. I saw that when they fell forward, when I lifted the layout up. So I'm grabbing my all-purpose mat. I have just a smaller piece here that I've cut down from a larger one that I like to use when I'm working on layouts to do things with adhesive. And you'll notice here with our adhesive that the adhesive is going to stick where I want it to stick, and the rest of it's going to go onto that all-purpose mat, not making a mess everywhere else. So that is another benefit of the all-purpose mat. You're not getting adhesive on your table or on your Versamat. Okay, my friends, I told you I was a hot mess when I was putting this together. Does anybody else have days like that? So here is where I realized that I forgot that happiness comes in waves. So I put that along the bottom above that wave zip strip, and then I just added in our glitter paper and photo mats. Again, here they lined up nice and easy. So hopefully you caught that with my little pop-up note, and you didn't make the same mistake that I did. So now we're ready to start doing our liquid glass. Liquid glass makes such a difference. You can use it on stickers, you can use it on embellishments, you can use it right on your photos. A few tips with liquid glass is that you do not want to shake the bottle, and when you're done, you want to tap it down to make sure that you don't have anything in the tip, and I always wipe the tip off also. Here you'll see I'm using a piercing tool to guide the liquid glass a little bit or help move out any bubbles that I might have in there. And the piercing tool makes a great tool for doing that fine work. Now we're going to add the liquid glass to the sun and sea. And I did have a little bit of trouble with the thin lettering on the sun, but it worked out just fine with my piercing tool to guide the liquid glass. So fun, my friends. I love this wet and shiny look to this for this layout. Now I did mention that I used the shimmer brush there on the ampersand. You can see it, but not as much as I'd actually hoped that I would have. I should have put a little bit more shimmer brush on it before I added the liquid glass. But nonetheless, it's still a fun technique, and you literally can see the liquid or the shimmer brush shining through, sparkling through the liquid glass. You'll see that again on the seahorse I did a little bit later on in the layouts. You'll see here that I was debating about adding that postage stamp piece in now. Knowing that I had dimension on it, I thought that it was going to be okay, but I ultimately decided to wait. I didn't want to smear the liquid glass on the anchor, so I set this aside to dry, and you'll see later that I added it back in. Now we are ready to start putting together the right side of layout number 1. You'll notice here that I already layered those first 2 pieces down using the X like I showed you on the left side, and I didn't forget the happiness comes in waves this time, right? I remembered to put that down. So here we are going to follow the guide for the most part again. However, you'll want to keep in mind that you're making adjustments for that glitter paper just slightly, right? And I forgot I started adding adhesive to this top piece. That's where our mystery pocket's going to be. So you don't want to add adhesive so that we keep it free so that we can add our mystery pocket. So I'm going to add the dimension here, right? So I'm looking at how I want to add these pieces in, and then I'm going to add the dimensional tape around it. So I'm adding the tape specifically in certain spots so that the photo mats don't fall all the way to the bottom. So did you see how I did that? That way they're not going to fall all the way down to the bottom. And we're going to put our little pull tabs on those shortly. Okay, so I made sure I had these lined up. Now I'm adding our Lagoon cardstock photo mats. So here you'll see I grabbed a sticker off the sticker sheet and cut it to make the little banner, to make the pull tabs on those photo mats. I used my anti-static pouch to remove the sticky from them, and then I decided how I wanted these to sit in here, and I added those little banners to be the pull tabs so people knew that there was something in there, right? And because this is so close to the top of your page, you'll be able to pull those out of a top-loading page protector. If you don't have a top-loading page protector, you can do the same thing that I just did here on the side of this photo mat, right? So you'll be able to pull it out on the side to your right-hand side there. Next, I'm going to start embellishing. We're going to start with this little marker here in the corner, and we want to make sure that we can still pull out our pull tabs there, right? And I decided to add the photo place card holder spots to these pullouts, right? And we're going to tuck those back in. I also realized right about now that this wasn't very balanced. So I had foam tape above the top one because we needed the pocket, right? But then this bottom one was flat and I didn't really like that look. It didn't look balanced. So I added foam tape under this one too to give it the dimension and balance out the layout. Next, we're going to start working on the cluster to the the cluster to the left of these photo mats. And I'm going to remove the sticky with my anti-static pouch. You'll see here that I fussed a little bit with these 3 stickers and how to lay them out. And then I brought in the paperboard piece in there as well, and the acrylic shapes. I added some foam tape for some dimension, and of course I added some shimmer brush in over the sand there because the sand sparkles too, right? We have to add some sparkle. Add in our acrylic shapes, and we are done with layout number 1. Look at how beautiful this is. I hope that you have enjoyed this layout as much as I have, and hopefully you didn't make all the crazy mistakes that I did. Keep in mind that you can pause this video at any time so that you can complete a step and then play again.